All
right, we're gonna start with the facilities budget first, and then we'll go into DPW. Yep.
Everyone, thanks for having me tonight. I did provide a budget cover letter. Included in that, we had updated warrant article balances, capital improvement schedule, and I provided an updated vehicle list, which might help with some of the narrative tonight. I don't have any major new requests. I'll go through kind of my line items and stop me at any time if there's any questions on anything that was provided. My salaries, we're fully staffed. We're staffed adequately, so I'm not looking for any new positions. The only thing I included in that was step increases for those that were eligible for one, and then a lot of our employees are maxed at the current table with the current contract. We don't have new rates as of yet with the new contract, or the current contract expires the end of June. We're starting negotiations, so that number could change depending on where we land with that. I do want to talk briefly about the administrative assistant that currently right now is working. That's not completely cut down the middle, but it's a 35-hour full-time position that's split between the DPW and facilities. We did have conversations, the DPW superintendent and I, and we are looking at some point when it works to move this position full-time to facilities. Obviously, we would not leave the DPW high and dry, and with her knowledge of both departments, I think we need to utilize that. And with that, we'll change her pay grade from I believe it's currently grade C to up to a grade D. And I did put with those numbers where she would fall if she stayed at grade C this fiscal year, and if we were able to work it out with the personnel board. Work out those details. It's an increase of approximately a little over $2,000. The facilities budget currently budgets for her entire salary. She's paid out of the facilities budget, so it shouldn't impact anything with other departments. And that's where that number came from, just if there's any questions. So the difference would be a little over $2,000 if, again, everything's worked out with the personnel board. And we do intend to move that position full-time to facilities.
Does it change the grade just because it's not a split position anymore?
So right now it's labeled a clerk position
Okay.
as opposed to an admin assistant.
Just because
that's
how it was. Okay.
Yeah, that's how it was originally written in the job description.
Okay.
And again, the position is very valuable, knowing two of the larger departments in town. So I wouldn't want to take her completely. There would be a transition phase, but I did want to budget for it appropriately.
Yeah.
As far as, again, the salary grid, I did provide an updated FY26 salary grid for our staff. We did not lose, but we had a few people retire and move on that were at a higher step. So we're kind of replacing at a lower step, which is a lower salary. So there's not a huge increase, if any. I think there's a decrease from last year. But I did increase the summer help line item, the overtime, and the clothing allowance went up $500 because of the additional employee that was approved last year. We just hired for it, so we didn't need it this fiscal year. We will need it in FY26. The overtime increase is due to a couple things. The facilities department took over the plowing and sanding of the fire and police, which was previously handled by Kevin's department. Because we maintained those buildings, we felt that it was part of our scope, and we have the equipment and we have the personnel now, so it was time to kind of make that switch. What that means is every time the DPW is out now, whereas before we might, if the library's not open on Monday, we would kind of hold back a little bit. It wouldn't have to go as soon as it started, but now we're kind of on the same timeline as the DPW to make sure that those two facilities are clear. So that showed when I ran some numbers before I put this together, we're going over a little bit over budget to what I allocated last year. So that's where that increase comes from.
Question,
Yeah,
you took over the plowing of the police and fire departments?
correct.
Was done by contractors before?
The DPW, it was part of their route before.
Just, well, why change it? Just curious.
Because we have the personnel now and the facilities department maintains that
Okay, all
facility.
right. So it's facilities.
And we do grounds and stuff, so that kind
All
of,
right,
it made sense to us to kind of take that over when we were capable and there was no drop off in service, so.
okay. Very good.
And then as far as the admin assistant and the director's salary, it was just, like I said, it's the next grade up. And I didn't include any cost of living. I'm not sure what that is or if that applies this year. Going through a few of my line items, I did some minor increases and some of that, the line items that have increases are ones that are more unpredictable, repairs. You know, we could have a repair for $500, a broken door, or it could be $1,300. And until we get quotes and proposals and things like that, we need to make decisions kind of day to day. It's hard to plan for every contingency. The other ones, the tree removals, the facilities equipment, those are items that we can kind of budget and kind of foresee what we're going to need. And it's something that's not really immediate. So if we get a price that's a little higher than we thought, we can tend to wait until we get a better price or another vendor. So those increases are a few things. Increased labor costs that we're seeing. I have a couple letters from different contractors regarding tariffs and them not being unsure if their prices are going to fluctuate at all. It's still a lot of unknown. So I did put a little, maybe a 2% in some cases, I believe, in my let's see, my facilities expenses, contractual services, repairs and maintenance, and my capital improvements. And that's just to cover unexpected increases that may come with change rules and regulations that change, or if they change. I did list under here, just to give you an idea of what comes out of those line items, if there's any questions. Facilities, for example, facilities expenses, it's all our school custodial supplies, town-wide custodial cleaning supplies, any paper goods, paper towels, toilet paper, things like that. So that tends to, with the quantities we order for the schools and the town buildings, those are pretty pricey. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what's coming out of those particular line items. But then I included we've been very busy and very fortunate to have some funding approved through ARPA and through grants. We have completed some of these projects, so I'm trying to list them as clearly as I could. But just to give you an idea, we did receive an air quality grant through the school system that's going to assist with the high school chiller replacement that's scheduled for this late spring, early summer. So a combination of that grant and some ARPA funds that were approved that would cover that large scale project. Some other grants we received at EECBG. Not exactly sure what that stands for, but it's a weatherization project at the Clinton Elementary School through National Grid. Mass Save, it's kind of in that line. So we received $57,643 to weatherize some portions of the Clinton Elementary School to reduce energy costs, and that's all through a grant. We have, for the chiller projects, through National Grid, we'll get a rebate at the high school for $29,143, and the elementary school $16,000, just for installing those new chillers and the savings that come with it. National Grid's going to write us a check for that amount. That can help in any way we see fit. And most likely we'll go to some type of new LED lighting that we're installing, or the final phases of that at the elementary school and high school. So those, that grant funding is in addition to anything related to the operating budget. And then moving down to ARPA, I listed everything that the select board approved at the time when we were allocating money through ARPA. Some of these projects have been completed. A lot of them, if not all of them now, are under contract. And that's I think my totals are correct. It's $772,052 of additional ARPA money that is going to be used to resurface the tennis courts, assist with the funding for the full chiller replacements. We did some skate park fencing repairs and removed a lot of the overgrowth down there that's already been completed. Town hall auditorium flooring, it's going to cover that, and that is scheduled to start April 7th. So in the next week and a half. And we have 50,000 approved through an interagency agreement, which allowed us to go past the December 31st ARPA deadline, to not having something on the contract, but that's going to help pay for new chairs, new folding tables, crowd control, retractable stands for voting, or any other assemblies that may happen in an auditorium. And again, some other election items that we discussed and may fall into that need improvements that we can use this funding for. I just have the middle school. This doesn't really impact the budget, other than we're not planning any major projects or anything other than just the day-to-day to maintain a healthy environment for the students and staff until the new school is ready for them. I believe the timeline now is to break ground right when the students get out of school, June 17th of this year. Any past warrant articles, I did update those in the grid. If there's any questions on those, the remaining balances, we're working, some of them we're working, or most all of them we're working to kind of get those down to a balance of zero and complete everything. As far as this year, I haven't written my warrant article requests, but just to give you an idea, because of all the ARPA funding and the projects that are going to be scheduled, I don't have a large ask for warrant articles for FY26. I am looking to kind of reallocate or reword some of the old articles that have a balance that are kind of pigeonholed into certain things. For example, the Dale Street lighting, there's a balance of $31,913. That project's been completed. So I'm looking to utilize that money, write a warrant article that still focuses on Dale Street, but maybe we look at the fencing at the softball field, or we look at paving the parking lots, or something we can use that funding for the area that it was intended, and not have it sit in an account that because the project's over. So it's just a request, or it will be a request. It's money that was already approved. Similar is the facilities mower that we purchased. There's a balance there that we're looking to get another vehicle for the cemetery to replace one that we're dumping money into, and we're trying to be smart about it, to not put too much into something that it's not worth the effort. So with that, I think our fleet is in very good shape. I know the last couple of years we were kind of building it up. This would be kind of the last piece of the puzzle, and everything is new enough where we can maintain it moving forward. The third one is the town hall office move. That was, I think, a warrant article maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And it was, I do need to talk to Michael Ward about that, because I believe the office move is complete. There is a balance there, so I'm looking to maybe add that to last year's town hall repair warrant article, that we've done roof repairs with that money. We're looking at the concrete stairs out front and kind of the mortar joints that are kind of breaking down. So there's some repairs that would like to focus the town hall. And I did get a price on painting the kind of the window frames and the soffit around the exterior, and that was it was an old quote, but it was $49,000, so it might be something that we can use this funding to help with something like that, a project like that. My two new asks is gonna be $100,000 for High Street, and that's Christmas lighting, that's spring flowers, plantings, any repairs needed to the irrigation that's down there. But this is a 2-year. It's about 50,000 a year. This would get us to through FY 27. And then I do have a request for 50,000 for a new vehicle for a new facilities director vehicle for myself. Or look at another option to get a vehicle that it's been towed 3 times, and I don't know how much longer it's gonna make it. So new ask this year for FY 26 for potential warrant articles will be 150,000 total. And that's pretty much everything I have right now.
Some couple questions. So for the F-550 is there a reason why like an F-350 isn't?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Did I write F-550?
Yeah, there's 550. I'm just,
It most it depends. I'm gonna talk to the town mechanic.
Yeah.
His input's very valuable because
Yeah.
the last vehicle we purchased was a 350. Wasn't doing a lot of towing or dumping and things like that. The cemetery at times, because we're digging graves, needs that extra
gotcha.
kind of weight and mobility. So that's something that isn't set in stone yet. Then
Understood.
we can price out, and then we could move a truck and then replace another one. You know what I mean? So there's some
Gotcha.
conversations that still need
So
to
for
be had.
towing like the mini excavator.
I'm sorry.
So for towing like the mini excavator, you would.
Correct. Yeah. The cemetery is more kind of the heavy duty need for a truck like that.
Understood.
And that's where we're losing one, potentially, and we're putting work into one that's kind of breaking down right now. So that's why the focus was to replace apples to apples. But
Makes sense. And then for the director vehicle, is there any chance that we could look at like reach out to Chief Coyne to see if they're retiring a cruiser? Or
yeah,
if
absolutely.
they-
I'm open to any avenue. It doesn't have to be a warrant article. I just know that I don't want to put bad money into it.
100%.
Put money into something bad.
It shouldn't be in a vehicle that needs to be towed.
But yeah, I'm open to different avenues for that.
And yeah, I just would like to thank you for this. I mean, your budget it's thorough. It's easy to follow along. The updates on all the warrant articles is greatly appreciated. But
Yeah, I said the same thing before we started. This is a well put together budget.
A plus. No pressure, Kevin. No pressure.
No, I said the same thing to him.
But no, thank you for this because that, sometimes the warrant articles that have been approved fall by the wayside after it's done. So,
And I'm trying to keep them in the same areas that they were originally intended to, if there's a need there, and so that's kind of the thought process behind it.
Brian, I have a question on the, in reference to the cemeteries.
Yeah.
When was the last time that we updated what we're charging, like for openings and things of that nature? Are we covering the cost
So
of, like, say, if we're doing it on a weekend? Because I know back years ago, we weren't even covering.
yeah, I think it's something that needs to be looked at. I think Lisa Profit in the DPW office with the records would be better I can certainly meet with her and get an idea of where we're at. To answer the question, I don't think they're where they need to be. But it's definitely worth a conversation to update. To
Yeah, I
make sure.
just like to see
Yeah.
what they're at.
Because since I've been here, there hasn't
Yeah.
been a change, and previous to that, I'm not sure when or if it's been done. So
And my other question is on the Reservoir Pines.
Mhm.
What capacity are we at now that we have to start thinking about the phase 2?
I don't have a number for you, but I know just from looking at the map of what's been sold, I think it's conversation that should happen in the near future, just to kind of plan and what it's gonna take. I wasn't part, obviously, of the
Right.
install of the first section, so I'm not 100% as to the steps that are needed, but I think it's time to get the right people in the room to see how that's gonna look, moving forward and what's gonna be.
Yeah, because I mean, if you ride by now.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
it's pretty much.
Yeah,
reaching
I'm
capacity.
glad you brought it up, because it is something we've talked about, and it's just getting the right people in the room, and I'm not sure who that even is. I know there was a committee originally.
Right, I was on.
Yeah,
We developed it, yeah.
So it might be worth exploring that to put some type of plan together for the next phase up there.
Because I know at that, after we had developed it, I know they did come up with, I think, 40 to 60 original plots that could be used at Woodlawn. And so I don't know if the Woodlawn now is at its full capacity as well.
It's not at its full, but again, I can get all that information for
Yeah,
you.
I just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that's going to be inevitable, that the town is going to have to.
Yeah, no, it's something we have to look at, and definitely the Pines. I know that I've had conversations with my staff too that actually sell the plots, and I just don't have the numbers,
Yeah.
but I know we can
Yeah,
definitely
that
look
would
at
be
that.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you, Bert.
Any other questions?
I just have one comment, just to, with regard to the Christmas lighting.
Mhm.
I know the select board had talked about it briefly, but it would be ideally, I think we would look to get a shift going between what's the fundraising that's going on down there with the banners to try to take a little burden off the taxpayers, so I think that would be the Community Economic Development Office.
Mhm.
But, something to, over the next couple of years, to look to see if we can shift that from, $100,000 during this time it's not a small number. I know it covers the next 3 years, but
Mhm. Yeah, I'm open to suggestions. So
Michael, can you work with Bill to find out how many, like what that fundraising has been in the past?
Sure.
Sponsoring those banners?
Yeah, hands to number two to see if they can expand it, so we can do more polls beyond the Selectboard, just the main streets to be expand that. Sure.
Right. Thanks, Brian.
thank you.
thank you.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna try to follow suit with Brian. He did help me out a little with my cover letter and everything, so I have to give him a little bit of. So, like I said, I'm hoping for a B minus. So anyway, so I do have the my cover letter here, as everybody has, and I also did pass out a updated capital needs sheet that I had. I put these in priority order, just so it'd be a little bit easier to follow along and understand everything. Thanks to my administrative assistant, she kind of pointed that out to me and helped me with that this afternoon. That's why it was kind of last minute. So, so as Brian stated, with the potential of the DPW losing half of the administrative clerk, the 17 and a half hours that's split between facilities and the DPW. I did put in for an additional administrative assistant / clerk, which would be paid 50% out of the DPW budget and 50% out of the water sewer. As it stands now, the way that it is split up between the superintendent and the administrative assistant's position. It's 27% out of the DPW budget, 57% out of water sewer enterprise, and 15% out of the rubbish enterprise. The reason why I didn't put anything in for the rubbish is because of the new rate change that we went to make sure that we weren't gonna be in another deficit for that position. So.
So you have a full-time administrative assistant today,
Yes,
grade D,
yes, no, yes,
step 15, and then the ask is because you're losing that 17.5 hours is to add a 35-hour clerk to your budget.
correct.
Okay, got it.
So I'm just asking sort of the opposite question, because I didn't understand, I'm blaming myself. So the facilities director is requesting that that administrative assistant be assigned to him full-time
Correct,
this year,
yes.
this year. Okay, thank you.
You will. So it is like Brian had said, that it is funded fully through the facility department budget. So that's why, we're lucky enough to have that 17 and a half hours, which is a huge help. We've been very busy and continue to be very busy with phone calls regarding water, sewer, especially trash, the complaints that we didn't pick up a bag because it was too heavy, so we have to document that and send somebody out, either the road foreman or myself will go out to investigate to make sure that it is in fact overweight or what have you. So it is, we do get a lot of incoming calls and emails and everything. And then a lot is the added work that Mass DEP for the water, MWRA for the wastewater, that they just keep adding more paperwork onto us that we have to fill out and follow up with and report. So it's a lot.
So is there a possibility where you've had 17 and a half hours thus far, that could there be potential for adding like a 19-hour position to see?
I mean, it is possible, but I mean, I think with having that, I mean, we have, we are the busiest office here. And I know Diane will vouch for me. Like every 2 weeks, our warrant for our bills are probably at least 1.5 inches. So I mean, it's tough now to keep up with that. It's easier to day by day. But now that if we lose that, then it's going to be, you're going to spend, probably 5 hours a day. I'm sorry, 5 hours every other week to do that, the warrants, pay, the bill warrants. So and it'd be nice just to be able to have that extra person.
Understood.
So in the, across the boards, this water, sewer, DPW and rubbish, I put in 3% for the superintendent spot, in the DPW admin assistant, and added in, on these numbers, for the wages, just for step increases, because we're unsure of union negotiation rates yet, rates and percentages.
Are they negotiating now for this budget or no, not yet?
I think we're hopefully starting.
For next year or for this budget?
It's gonna be for this budget.
Oh.
So on in the water sewer enterprise fund budget sheet, I have increased the heat light power by 3%, just as a precaution that prices could go up. The pump station operation and maintenance. This line item here is used for both of the water pump stations that we have in town, the filtration plant, all the sewer pump stations, maintenance, service of the pumps, the supplies, chemicals, and equipment for both departments. I had increased that by 17% for another 50,000 to be added into that line. But because we've been the way that where we're at now on that line, it's dwindling down quickly. So I think this, so we don't go over, so we'll add that in.
So the debt and interest, the two debt and interest line items at the bottom, those have come out of water and sewer. Is that because they're paid off or did they go somewhere else?
I don't think they're paid off just yet.
Those numbers need to be updated. We just got a schedule. Internal creditors.
Okay, so like, cause I was just wondering with the budget going down 25%, if that was intentional or if that will maybe stay flat. If we get those numbers in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely, there was no extra cost, so it would always go down.
What?
The numbers will go down.
Right.
But did give me numbers.
Oh, yes,
What was that?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a big deal. I was just wondering if they went somewhere else.
Few of the bonds will be paid off this year.
Okay.
The current year.
Okay.
Any questions on the water sewer enterprise? DPW, budget, again, step raises included, in that. And I had added overtime, pay 5% for $2,000 for anticipated wage increases. And this sheet here also has the projected or proposed full-time administrative assistant clerk.
What's a compactor? Is that the truck?
Yes, that's the trash truck.
Okay. So is maintenance going up because those are getting old or just the cost of things or both?
So you're on the rubbish?
Rubbish, yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
No worries, no worries. So, the compacted maintenance is, I have in here, so in the compacted maintenance, I increased that by 66,000 to cover for the yearly cost of the compactor lease.
Is that a new cost or?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But we had voted last year to, begin the, so to start to get the truck. And then we'll have to vote this year, which I forgot to put on my capital needs to, or actually, I don't know if it has to go on the capital, to be able to vote to move forward with the lease.
You'd have to budget for it. in that line.
Yeah, that's what I did, so. And then the rubbish disposal, the rubbish maintenance and disposal, that was the huge because, as we all know, the dumping fees have gone up astronomically. And I had also, estimated a 5% increase. That's in the, contract that we have now. It can go up to 5%.
Mm.
So I just figured that would be safer than where we are at now for this fiscal year.
And did you say because of this, we're increasing the rates that we're charging? Because I remember before you were here talking about us being kind of low on the scale of what we charge for trash
Yes,
and recycling.
yes. We had the water sewer rubbish recycling, rate hearing, for the increase in February.
Yeah, that'd be right.
I should probably know that.
So with that, we're hoping that we're gonna have what I had projected out was that we should have just enough to cover where we're at the deficit now.
Okay, without the 5% increase,
No, that
or
was,
with the 5% increase,
yes.
okay.
I think we talked about it at the hearing a bit, but like, is there any opportunity to maybe shop around rubbish removal, given
Yes.
how
It's,
expensive it's become? Like, I don't know if we can,
they're all.
they're all, like, I don't know how often.
They're all
we-
within like a dollar or 50 cents.
So there's no like way to kind
I'm
of
hoping,
one against the other to kind of lower the rate? I don't know.
I was lucky enough to maneuver the recycling rates with the current company
Mhm.
because they never really formally gave us a rate increase for our dumping for the recycling. So I'd gotten, it was $35 a ton cheaper than what they wanted to.
Are those contracts year to year?
Yes. Any questions on rubbish? Landfill, on the landfill budget. What I did was I removed $100,000 from the landfill, expense and added it to the landfill permitting and engineering just for the purpose of continued landfill monitoring and DEP filing and inspections. So if something comes up, we have it
How long will that continue?
forever.
Ooh.
Hopefully once we get it, I guess, completely closed out by Mass DEP and everything, we'll still have to be doing monitoring, but I think it's gonna be a lot less to budget for in the future.
So if we put do something on top of it, if we either put solar cells or something up there, whatever you put up there, still gotta do monitoring?
Yes, yes, yeah, so hopefully we can do some solar and get some good credits for the town. It's a perfect spot.
What's the time frame on that? I mean, like, when it's fully capped, like, when it's done? I mean, I know the maintenance will continue. Like, is there a time frame?
So now we're just
Kind of
waiting,
Waiting it out?
we're filing paperwork with Mass DEP for the final closure.
Mhm.
It's closed, but we're just actually it's really not the closure, it's the final sign off
Mhm.
of all the permits, the paperwork.
That's kind of happening.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the chance of using that area as a solar farm for the new middle school?
I think it's very feasible. Absolutely. Like I said, it's, I think what, the next step is a right of way for the power lines. I think it's for to go through, over the railroad and into private property to, I think, to the main line, I believe.
So it's in the works?
I wouldn't say it's in the works, it's in talks. It's on the radar to have something happen.
Yeah, so the plan for the DEP was that it would do solar, not specifically for the middle school.
Yeah.
That's the property. But the DEP has to accept the closure and sign off on it before we can move forward. But there will be infrastructure there from solar in the back that we could use to tie into.
Thank you.
I guess I'm kind of going offline here. So, on my cover letter, that everybody should have, we had sold, 4 pieces of, surplus equipment that was, 3 of it was for the purpose of the landfill closure. It sold 2 Caterpillar bulldozers, a Caterpillar roller, and a Elgin street sweeper that we had at the DPW. We had auctioned those off with Auctions International, and I feel we made out fairly well with the prices. We had received $228,350 for the surplus equipment. What I am proposing is, I don't know if it's feasible or not, but use those funds for 3 of the capital requests that I have. One being the landfill mowing machine, which is has the cabinets specifically made for high angle mowing, is what we need for the landfill. Be able to mow that safely and also have it for snow removal, just light sidewalk maintenance. This will actually help us be able to mow it quicker. We have one now. For us to mow the landfill, it takes at least 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks to mow with one mower.
Oh,
So, and we'd like to try to mow that and maintain the top at least twice a year. To stay within the good graces of.
Could that
Mass
be
DEP.
used anywhere else, or would it just be used?
So we could use it, we
Like at the
have, snow plow attachments,
Oh.
Street sweeper attachments for like sidewalks.
Mhm.
So it's very versatile, and it's actually a very helpful piece of machinery. And if we were to do that, especially for sidewalk snow plowing in the winter months, we have one. If we have 2, we get it done twice as fast, then everybody will be happy.
Mhm.
Also, the other piece of equipment is a backhoe for the road department to replace the 1993 JCB. This is for roadside repairs, digging and backfilling sewer repairs, repairing catch basin, installation of drainage pipe, and etc. And a new asphalt hot box trailer. This is to transport hot asphalt from hot top plants. So it maintains the proper temperature. So if you're doing fixing a patch, of a trench or actually pothole repair, use that. And then we can also utilize that with cold patch too, to heat it up in the winter. So it's easier to put the cold patch out when it's cold.
Do we have one of those today or
Yes.
it's old?
Yes. It is, I'm estimating it at like a 1996 tough box trailer.
30 years.
So on my list here, I have the capital needs requests in order to priority. Last year, we had to do a level 2 notification because we had high levels of disinfection by products. It's just from the chemical reaction to chlorine and the sodium bicarbonate and everything where the levels were high. So we had to send out issue a warning stating that we're above the reported levels of that. So the way that we can fix that is by installing electric water aerators. It's basically like a water sprinkler that stays inside the tank and it just flows out, and it just, because the TTHM or the disinfection byproduct, it actually off gases. Once you start to aerate it, it off gases, and then those levels would drop. I've been working with our engineering firm, and we're in agreement that this is probably the easiest and cheapest way to drop those numbers down. We're below them now, but they do elevate during the summer due to the temperature, just the air temperature. So Sterling Street Road and Sidewalk Improvement Project. This has been going on for 2-3 years, I believe. I've been here a year, I've been working on it, so I think it's been 2 or 3. Mass DOT had rejected the initial plans that Green International had made for the town for that project, from Lawrence Street to Main Street. So we had gotten a new proposal from the engineering firm for another $450,000 for a new design plan to submit to Mass
Same firm?
DOT. Yes, it wasn't the firm's fault. It was Mass DOT do not like what was proposed, and it wasn't. I didn't feel it was that much of a big deal, but because Mass DOT is funding the project, we have to abide by their recommendations.
They
So
didn't
this-
have the guidelines before they planned it out?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
the firm didn't meet the guidelines? We're
No,
gonna give
no,
them
they
another
did,
450?
but Mass DOT changed it. They saw the plans, what they had proposed, and they're like, well, this isn't gonna work, so they wanted us to redo it.
So they changed it.
Yes. Mass DOT changed their minds.
So this money is just for design work
Yes.
for that project. And then Mass DOT funds the project fully or partially? Fully?
I believe fully, right?
For construction.
Yeah,
And
construction.
If it's in 27, fiscal 27.
So this $450,000 we're paying out in order for new design plans?
Yes. And I
Um,
believe this is gonna be like a $2 to $3 million project.
Well, how did Mass DOT change their mind? And you said something earlier that it wasn't that Mass DOT didn't like the engineering plans. They didn't like the scope of the plan.
I believe so. It was they didn't like I think it was the profile of the road or something. It was just, they just kicked it right out. I didn't feel that there was anything major to it.
Well, somebody must have, they kicked it right out.
Can I,
Uh,
just to follow up Mike's question, if they threw it out, why couldn't we go back to the firm that did the initial work and just say, can you modify it? I mean, could those plans be modified in any way? I mean, 450 is a lot of money that you've already paid this firm. I'm sure we paid them a substantial amount of money.
Right. I think the last, I think it was. Was it 200,000?
Yeah. This is an amendment to modify that original plan. I don't think they're starting from scratch.
No.
It's more than what your whole plan was to get this.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, if it's a modification, why can't we have that firm that did the design do the, additional work to
And you would
accommodate
assume
for what the
less-
requirements are?
For less money
Yeah,
than the
that's-
original, for sure.
Right.
The engineer that did the plan, is he the one that gave you the new price, the 450? He said that's what it's gonna cost. What was the initial cost?
I think it was close to 130 or 200,000.
So we spent 200,000 and you go, oh, okay.
I mean, I'd just be interested in why it got rejected. For example, if we proposed to do 5 miles of street, had this engineering, and I'm just using this as an example, had this engineering firm draw up the plans for 5 miles of street, gave it to DOT, and DOT said, we're not doing 5 miles of street, we're only gonna do 2 miles. Well, the burden is on us because we tried to get 5 miles and they, but if they were rejected because of something having to do with the plans, I should think that the firm should be part of that. So that's why I'd be interested to know the specifics of why it was rejected. So,
I will definitely look into
you know,
that.
who proposed something that was unacceptable? If it was us, then that's on us. But if the plans were found to be faulty, then I think that should be on at least partially on the firm.
If the original, scope was $200,000, then why not just go find another firm to do it if it's $200,000 versus redoing it for 450?
Well, I can definitely look into it. This was another project that I walked into.
Yeah,
Well, you inherited
yeah.
that here, Kelly.
Yeah.
I realize that. I'm just saying that if the original cost was 200,000 and it's like a modification to it, why are we paying double the price? I mean, as Aaron said, why can't we just do like an adjustment? I mean, it just doesn't seem to me that it makes any sense to me anyways, that
Right.
it's double the cost and that's all.
I guess
Now, that scenario is to every firm's advantage to have all their plans rejected.
I'm sorry, what?
Using the scenario that Mary Rose described, it's in the interest of the firms to have all their plans rejected. Because then they go back and say, well, we need twice as much money for another.
Does this have to be spec'd out again to engineering firms and
Yeah.
advertised and?
No, this firm here works very closely with Mass DOT and other cities and towns. But I can definitely look into it and get some more information on it.
Do we have any options, do you think?
Absolutely, we can use some money and just do it ourselves.
Well, I mean, that's, what the- you know, that, you can do a lot more with the state paying for, I mean, the town can save a lot of money. I mean, I wouldn't jump to paying for it ourselves. Not, especially now that the landfill money is starting to dry up, which I assume it is. The money that, you know, we use from the landfill for capital improvements, I assume that money's must be
It's
lower
done.
than.
I don't
I thought- I thought
believe
that
so.
was
That's
done.
not my
I
realm.
thought that cash cow was over.
Now, I mean, are you saying, Kevin, that do it yourself, you're talking about the design work, not the
Just have it-
physical?
just
not the-
do it.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
could you-
but are you saying the design work, or are you saying the?
No,
the-
just.
The physical,
Just do the physical
construction.
project.
the project? Oh. Well,
But it's because it's I don't know what the agreement was in the past with being a state numbered roadway. They were doing it, but I mean, we still maintain it, so it's not like the state pays for it to be plowed and salted in the winter months.
yeah. But the thing that blows my mind on this is how the project, the scope of the project, how does the company that's doing the work get to the point that weren't they communicating with the department? I mean, it just got to the very end of it and they said, well, we don't like it. You got to do it all over again. That doesn't
That's-
make sense to me.
I believe that's what it was. We had maybe you might be able to remember better, Mike. We had a joint meeting with the engineering firm, all the engineers from Mass DOT, and what they had proposed for the road work, and Mass DOT says no. So I don't think it was anything to do with the engineering firm. I could be wrong.
Okay.
I've been wrong plenty of times
Can-
before, but
Do you think maybe we could just like maybe gather some more information on this particular point? I don't want to get already really in the weeds about this one thing. So maybe Kevin can go back and just find, and maybe answer some of these questions hard to remember off the top of your head.
I just have one question. This could be for Diane and or Michael. So with the High Street project, there were funds left in that. So could those funds be repurposed for something like this through town meeting if there was to be a warrant article or? Because I think it was over $400,000, right? That was left in that High Street project based upon the last warrant schedule I saw.
I don't recall, remember, it could be repurposed, we just have to be agreed that there would be no more work.
Correct. Okay, so if
We have to look at the type of funds there as well.
right,
Because I think all the grant numbers, the town put up $1.5 million borrowing authorization, so that might be a borrowing authorization, so
Okay.
it may not be actual money.
understood,
Just be, you would have to borrow.
Right.
understood. Okay.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I'm sorry.
Good luck with that one.
I might need it.
Wear your helmet.
I think we should definitely get it more of a report for the committees to be able to review what happened.
Right. Like I said, I didn't really, that was a year ago.
If the project is $3 million, you don't want to lose the $3 million of state
Right.
money. However, to spend $450, if you don't have to spend the $450, that's kind of crazy also.
Understood. So on number 3, looking for road improvements for resurfacing and construction of various roads, purpose of asphalt milling, hot asphalt in place, full depth reclamation, asphalt curbing and other roadway works. Looking for $1,030,000 for that. And yeah, that's just hopefully doing a large number of road resurfacing this year. It's my hope.
Is that like a recurring request, would you say?
Yes.
Okay. And like yearly or?
Well, I'm hoping with this one here having the millions, that it will be, this should hold us over for a couple of years with what I have still on tap from last year's requests.
Okay.
And
Excuse me.
where would this million come from? Again, just going back to the funds, Michael, that the Board of Selectmen put into, from the landfill. We put it into a capital account for improvements. Is there money still left in that account?
Yes, that's where this would come
So
from.
this million would come from there?
Right.
Okay.
Excuse me, we used to go back to number one, the aerators.
Mm-hmm.
That 170, does that include the installation cost?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well. And number 4 is the sewer infiltration and inflow phase 2 project. A couple of years ago, the town had did a phase 1 I&I project. So this is going to include an annual I&I reports, design services, construction inspections. Our biggest, I guess our biggest aspect that MWRA wants us to look into is the 30-inch sewer main that goes along Green Street, follows the Nashua into the down by the treatment plant itself down on High Street. We've been high on our inflow to the treatment plant. So they're mandating Mass DEP and MWRA are mandating that we begin a phase 2 project in order to stay where we're at with not having to have bills going to the treatment plant itself, the wastewater treatment plant. This scope of work is estimated at $2 million, which we'd be looking to borrow.
Can I ask a question on that one?
Yes.
So when you talk about the 30-inch sewer main, so is that in addition to the water flow that's actually running through the Nashua, or is it just be?
No, nothing. It just that line runs parallel with the Nashua.
Okay, so, okay,
Yeah, it doesn't. And MWRA believes that there's a lot of infiltration when the river gets high. That's getting into that 30. And then, just with that, and then continue with moving forward with more I&I inspections to see how much we can get out, and also with the new construction of having, like, it's a 4-to-1 scope where if, say, a new building's being built, their inflow is going to be 20,000 gallons. They're going to have to do 80,000 gallons of I&I. So that's what we're going to be pushing more, is trying to get more of these mills to do I&I studies and or fixing the system, doing repairs to the system. So our numbers, so the total number of the town drops going into the wastewater treatment plant. Number 5 is the water filtration plant pump motor. It's a new 125 horsepower, 240 volt electric pump that is used to distribute the
Hey, Ken,
finished
excuse me,
drinking water.
what page you on? Because number 5 reads differently in a way.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is off of my capital needs sheet.
Oh, yeah, Pat.
It'd be double.
It's like its own page.
Yeah.
It's its own page. It's not the one that's stapled.
Separate, it was an
Yeah,
add-on.
Pat, sorry.
So these motors run pretty much every day. I'm not sure of like a full time frame. I mean, they probably run 16 hours a day, pushing the water through from the treatment plant. And the water filtration plant air compressor, looking for a new 125 PSI air compressor to operate air activated valves for the treatment process. This will be replacing the original air compressor when the plant was put into operation in 2005.
I would just recommend if those are gonna be warrant articles to just combine them, if we could. And make them vague,
That's-
you know what I mean?
Nope, that's absolutely.
Like water filtration enhancements or improvements or whatever.
Okay.
Kevin?
Yes.
On the mandate on the sewer infiltration, did they give you a date that you have to get that done by?
Yes. And I don't have that off the top of my head right now.
Okay.
We do have, so they gave us a list of what they want us to do. So we had gotten extension due to the budgetary reasons that town meeting and fiscal year, they're able to let us slide and then until July 1st, where we can hopefully start the process of doing the I&I work. I'm also looking for, at number 7, it's a water sewer jetter. It's to purchase a single axle trailer, gas powered, basically like a pressure washer, high pressure jetter for the purpose of cleaning out light to medium sewer blockages, storm drain blockages. This would be able for the sewer department to handle like the medium to light sewer blockages without having to call in a subcontractor, which would be a lot cheaper in the long run. I know in the past year and a half, 2 years, we've spent probably, I want to say like maybe $80,000 for jetting of blockages. And number 8, road department pickup truck with plow, purchase a new 1-ton single cab 4x4 pickup truck with plow. Purpose of snow removal, towing trailers, water jetters, asphalt hut box, general work. This would be replacing a 2002 Chevy pickup with a plow that has 108,000 miles.
180 or 108?
108, 108.
108.
Yes. And that's all I have.
That's
A
it?
big dog.
That's it. No, if you recommend that I combine those,
I would. I think it's just always better to have less simplifying.
Nah.
And it's not like a lot of, like, relatively, it's not a lot of money either, you know? So. Any any questions or comments or anything?
These are all items that you're looking for this year.
Yes, sir.
Nothing else? Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Nice job. Thank you.
Right, again.
Kevin, I'm giving you an A.
Well done.
A minus. Only because it's a couple $1 million request.
Yeah, literally.
You're attached to an expensive department.
Somebody has.
You're a big dog.
Go big or go home.
Right.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you. Nice job.
All right. So I have to leave in a couple of minutes, but I know next on the agenda was the town administrator search and budget.
Yeah, the HR manager was able to conduct, he's been conducting it all along, but summarize it for this meeting with the estimated amount of the salary for our town administrator search, which after your vote last week, we are now doing internally. So based on his salary research, he's calculating a figure about 181,000. So if you're looking at the current salary for fiscal year 2025, he reported 2023 at 152,000. We have budgeted for fiscal year 2025, 159,500. A 3% COLA increase on that would be 163,000, plus the $14,000 that your committee suggested we put towards to redirect from the search firm to the salary would put us at 177,000. So looking for your endorsement because we do need to move forward and post this job. Town council continues to remind me that we're obligated to Michael's contract through the end of June. At any point, he can leave. So I cannot impress upon you anymore that we need to move forward with the search after he gave his notice.
So,
Go ahead.
sorry, just to clarify. What you're looking for is the finance committee's support, and do we need to like legally vote, I guess is my question, on posting this role at 180K or whatever it might be, knowing that obviously we're gonna have to put that new figure into the budget for this coming year.
Correct.
Okay.
Community Paradigm, the search firm that we chose, typically posts it, and looking at the industry standard, typically posts it at the dollar amount they've designated as an appropriate salary, plus or minus, depending on qualifications. So it may not be exactly that amount. I think we can expect someone to maybe negotiate, but it'll depend on their experience.
Okay.
I personally would-
post a range, do you know? I think we,
Some do.
okay.
That's something that I'll have to discuss with the HR manager. So that's kind of where that plus or minus,
Yeah.
a little bit more of like a median point. I would feel better if we kind of went with a range of 170 to 190 to give us some buffer.
Yeah.
But that's my perspective on it.
Any other questions or?
So we're grossly underpaying Mike Ward right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, even
See, maybe Mike would
Again,
stay.
maybe Mike would stay
if we
if-
offer him that money.
I think it's a colossal mistake to let him go. We have all these new people in these key positions in town. I think it's a colossal mistake. He's been here 30 years. Let's stop pretending. He's being.
let's stop
forced out.
pretending he didn't give his notice.
Nobody, he just
He
didn't.
did not
get his
pursue a
resignation.
contract. He made an announcement in December. He is no longer pursuing
She wasn't
contract.
gonna get a new contract.
Well, you don't know that.
Let's you know that.
We do absolutely do not know
All
that.
right, let's
I am
be
being
truthful.
truthful. Yeah, let's be truthful.
Bring it up in mouth.
We do not know that.
I
We
don't
were
know
never
that.
given
He
the
hasn't
opportunity to vote.
Listen, hold on a
Yeah,
second.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Can the
Enough.
can
You
the
don't want to admit to the people that you're forcing him out. We know.
Prove
that
it.
you are-
how do you know that? What are you talking about?
You are totally out of line.
Listen, can the people that are on the board that make this decision speak to what you're talking about that you think you know?
Speak away.
All right, it was not settled. There was debate on what we were going to do. I can honestly tell you that 100%. Were we going to guarantee another 3-year contract? It was not. It was everything was up for
I
discussion.
noticed you shook your head no when you said that.
Yeah, it was a discussion. We were going. This is what competent towns do. You have an evaluation system. You look over the results of that evaluation system. Then you determine how you're going to move forward. We were still discussing what we were going to do. We had was it going to be 3 years? Was it going to be 2 years? Was it going to be 1 year? We were still in the middle of talking about that. And Michael made the decision, it's his decision, that he didn't want to renew the contract. Nobody else made that decision for him. He chose to do it. So I find it just completely disrespectful for you guys to sit there and tell us that we're forcing Michael out. All we did was follow a system that we put in place. And we were in the middle of deciding what we were going to do and how we were going to handle it. And Michael decided not to renew that contract. So I don't know what else to tell you guys. You have this thought in your head. It doesn't matter what we say.
Yeah.
You're not going to change it. And you're going to keep repeating this narrative to anybody else who asks. But just to let you know from the people that were actually on this board and talking about it, and we're in executive session discussing it, we were not pushing Michael out. We were deciding how we were going to move forward with the contract.
I have a quick question. How would you know any of that took place during,
Nothing.
hold on, how would you know any of that conversation that took place in executive session?
Well,
Listen,
No.
how would you know that?
I'm
Just
about
answer that
to
question.
your question.
Let's hear it.
What do you think? Do you think you have the security of the CIA in a small town?
So you're saying there's a leak?
So you're saying
So there's a leak within that discussion. There's somebody who relinquished that information to you.
I'm saying that
someone from that
That's
office.
a yes or no question. Someone relinquished that information to you. That was an executive session. Because all you have to go by is what he said at our public meeting and what he put in the newspaper. So the information in executive session,
put in the newspaper.
Michael,
the discussion when they announced that he would not be renewing
Michael,
his
you mean
contract.
Michael.
Michael, yeah.
So
the
I'll-
item covered. So you have the item and you have the public, you have the open meeting. But how would you have any information about what took place in executive session? Because you have some massive assumptions that are factually
I
incorrect.
do not believe they're factually incorrect. And
but you have nothing to prove.
How do you know?
Can I answer your questions? Could you try to be quiet for 5 minutes? I mean, Mr. Duval a minute ago said, could someone let the persons who were there say something? I shut my mouth. Perhaps you could shut your mouth right now until I answer your question. So could we have some silence over there?
Answer how you know that this.
I know because I have been involved in town government for 20, 30 something years and one hears things.
Yeah,
You don't have the security of the CIA or such as it is these days, around personnel issues. One hears things. You offered Michael a 1-year contract.
That's
He did not even true. That is not as false. That is a lie. That is false. False.
Is there a way of
Let's be
solving this without
So
doing?
until you,
Is there a
until
way
you
of
see what
solving
your
this?
source is.
Is there a way of solving this? We'll sit here and go back and forth, back and forth.
Involve the transfer for the consultant. And then now today we're talking about the range. There is a repeated effort to paint this narrative that a town administrator was being pushed out. It is factually.
All right, let's kill that idea.
incorrect. I understand.
I want you to sit here and listen to this all night, okay? Is there a way of resolving this without?
What-
Let us move forward.
Can something be brought, can Michael be brought back into the picture?
We are not discussing that because he already made that decision.
Did anybody try to talk him out of it?
It wasn't under duress of any
I'm
sort.
just asking a question.
Okay.
Could I just,
I don't know.
Is Michael an adult?
Yeah.
Is Michael an adult?
Are you, are you, his
Michael-
agents?
Right, he handles his own negotiations. It was his choice to do this. You know, I mean, if we want to start with how do we move forward, I think to start to move forward, we stop just saying these baseless I know things when you guys have no idea what you're talking about. And if you are so certain that you know, then you're basically admitting that somebody on this select board or somebody that was here at executive session was telling you guys information that legally they have no right to tell you. So the more you guys say, I know, the worse you're building this case for somebody on this board or somebody in this room was giving you guys information that you had no right to know.
You were gonna say
Excuse me,
something,
did
Yeah, I
anyone
was
try
gonna
to
say-
talk Michael out of design?
But-
Don't.
Yeah.
It's his
Oh, wait.
professional decision.
You have a
He's not interested in negotiating his
Yeah,
contract.
I just asked,
Oh, God, you guys.
did anybody try to talk a 30-year employee out of resigning?
No.
Okay.
There was never even an opportunity. So we'll give you this one, piece of it. They'll give you this one piece on the 1-year deal. So the individual came into the room, gave the exact speech he gave at open meeting, and left. The end. That is 100% true.
Well, just to end this part of the discussion. You certainly believe what you believe. I, in my heart of hearts, know what I believe. Here's my position on the $181,000. We should treat it exactly like every other budget request. And discuss it as the finance committee has done over many years through the course of building the budget. If you were looking for a vote from us tonight, to tell you that we would authorize $181,000, I would vote against that. Which is not to say that looking at reality, in case Michael does leave, which I expect he might, that is not to say that over the course of deliberations, that we or I wouldn't come to the point that some number has to be in there. But if you were to ask me tonight, am I going to say yes, $181,000? I would say no, I'm not going to say that tonight.
So let me just say one thing to this. We saved the $14,000 from not hiring the consultant, right? Now, we need more discussion on what a potential salary range could be and as far as the funding source goes, okay? We're playing chicken with the most important position in this town. Last week, last meeting one with the $14,000 that wasn't approved, we put out Chief Lovinger's position to a consultant. We put out the superintendent of DPW. We put out the treasurer collector. We put out the assistant town administrator, all two consultants. Now you're going to take the CEO of a approaching $70 million budget, and we want to go shopping at the bargain basement, and we don't want any professional assistance in carrying out this process because you're trying to make a political point based upon something that is factually inaccurate. Those are the facts of the situation. You're playing political chicken and you're holding this town back. Mr. Ward gave his decision and you're a ball and chain around this right now. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to answer to that piece.
Here's what I'm saying. The 14,000, whatever contracts you've awarded in the past, you've awarded. We now have a head of human resources. I believe that we first began discussing having the head of having a human resources administrator when I was still on the board. And it was finished after I left. My assumption was that once we have a human resources director, he or she would manage such things as job searches. I mean, I think we can have a human resources director who we're paying $100,000 or so. Or we could have contracts to find, to recruit for vacancies. I don't know why you should have both. So I'm standing by my vote on the $14,000. and I'm just telling you my personal opinion on the 181,000, that I think that should be treated as every other budget request. And you know what? You can begin the search process without having a budget figure. I mean, for one thing, I'm sure you're aware of what's going on in Washington. There are going to be thousands of administrative types looking for work. It's entirely possible that there will be a glut of administrative people looking for work. There's no need to be advertising 181 or 200 or whatever you want. We're not stopping you from beginning your search. Begin your search. But I'm saying I am not willing this evening to tell you $181,000, no more than I'm willing to tell the DPW director that I'm in favor of the 450,000 that are requesting for the study for the road.
So,
That's my position.
so Mike, you would take a job without having an idea what the salary is gonna be?
I would apply for a job without having an idea, with having a general idea of what the salary would be, because I would know that you paid the last guy 152,000.
Right, and don't you think we'd get a higher caliber candidate if the salary was advertised as 180,000
I
versus
think you
hundred and
would get
fifty
a
thousand?
candidate if the salary was advertised as 400,000.
Well,
But I
you,
think
Mike, you wanted us, you voted down us using the consultant, okay? You wanted us to use HR to come up with the salary.
what?
He did.
HR to come up with the
Oh,
salary,
yes.
right? We did. So
Oh,
we did,
yeah.
we did what you wanted. We're trying to meet you halfway here. We're not fighting about the consultant. We're moving forward, as you suggested, that we use our new human resources department to come up with a salary. They gave us a salary. And now your response is, well, we'll get to it when we get to it. We're not going to do this. We're not going to prioritize this at all, even though this is the position that's going to be leading this town. And the person who's in that position is going to be leaving in a couple months. So I'm trying to wrap my head around like how, if you don't want to vote on it tonight, I can understand that because this is the first time that we've seen this number. But how you cannot just say, you know, give us a week to consider it and then give us a vote. Aren't we getting together every Tuesday,
Yeah.
right? So can you take a week to think about it and then come back and give us a vote on Tuesday? We need that number to help us do this search. Like we need to have a competitive salary.
I don't think you need the number to begin a competitive search.
So wait, hold on a second, Mike. You don't, we try to get a consultant, you don't allow that. You tell us to use the human resources to come up with a number. They come up with a number and then you disregard that too. So what,
By name, I don't know.
I don't recall ever saying, go get human resources, come up with a number.
Well, what else?
I don't recall. You asked for a consultant to do the job search.
And you said
We
no,
said
so we moved
no.
on.
Great.
It
To your
had nothing,
point.
it had nothing to do with the salary. Now suddenly, the
Well, what do you
request
think?
was,
What do you?
would you stop talking when you ask me a question?
Please,
Do you
wrap this
have
up.
that in your
Please, wrap this up.
personality? Ask the question and I will answer it.
Please wrap this up.
Do you have a question? I mean,
Are
I
you gonna
told
vote on
you,
this tonight, or are you? gonna
I
vote on it
have
next
told
week?
you,
My chairman left.
I believe that $181,000 should be handled exactly
You
the
wanna
same
think about it?
as other budget
I'll make
matters.
a motion we table.
So if somebody wants to make a motion,
Is this on a
I'm
meeting?
happy to
Is this on a meeting?
shut up.
I make a motion that,
No, they-
oh yeah, you guys have to make the motion.
Your
Sorry.
meeting.
It's our meeting. Can somebody entertain making the motion of having a range?
Mr. Cherubini is the vice chairman. I'll make a motion to to our vice chairman that we table this vote until next week.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
This discussion,
I'm sorry, discussion?
next week, I may not be ready to vote for this amount.
What do you need for time?
What we could, I don't know, but we'll discuss it next week. Like, we bring it back up.
That's all I got it. That's all we got. Discussion next week.
Well, you know, I mean, seriously, Julie, I don't think that was appropriate. This is a distinguished board, and I think,
Distinguished board.
yeah, yes, it is. Yes, I'm sorry. I have much respect for all of these people on this board.
This
Are you-
So let's just
I mean, I
clear
think that's,
something up.
that's uncalled
So,
for.
so this
I'm sorry.
board is sitting up here spreading misinformation, and you're saying that what Julie said is the
No,
issue.
I'm sorry. Well,
I can-
because,
I'm the
because no matter
I'm the
what we
issue.
think on a situation or a topic, we're supposed to have respect for one another. And that's what I'm saying.
So
We
what
have
about
to
the
respect this board.
How about
Respect-
respect for us?
Respect the work that
I
now
don't see them.
this board has to do
disrespectful.
because they've made choices.
Listen, this is discussion. This is open discussion.
I love
mean,
discussion, but
Did we vote on
I
that?
love discussion, but this is ridiculous.
So let's
We
just
wanna
have
get
a
all
board
of
on
it.
the table.
They already voted.
Our motion passed.
Motion.
That's fine.
Motion was
It
made.
was second and passed.
They already voted.
We vote yes?
Motion,
Oh,
second.
God.
I thought we did.
Yes. Yes.
All in favor? We'll do it again. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. For next week,
Because I don't know. if we'll approve it next week either.
I didn't ask, we didn't ask that. We didn't ask.
There's no intention of proving any of this. There's no
Right.
intention, unless it has to do with the one thing that you keep on bringing up, which is bringing the town administrator back from a position that he willingly decided to
No
not
longer.
renew this contract.
This
That's,
is,
that's what we're doing.
What if he changes his mind?
What if you change?
What if, yeah, what if?
Change my mind.
If
Fine,
you
we
just
consider-
fine, then come and change the
I
thing.
asked you a question. What if he changed his mind? Don't come back with a question.
I don't know. That would be something that we would have to discuss in
Right.
the board and vote
All
on
right,
it.
just give me that
like you
thoroughly.
The reality is this is what's happening.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
have to
trying
deal with
we're
facts.
trying to deal with the reality of the situation, and you're trying to hold on to something that it's going. It's either way. This is going to happen. Whether it's
This idea
this-
came up,
this
came up for
July
here. We
or
put it on
whether
for a week.
in a
We just
future
went
July,
ahead
it's
with it.
happening.
right, so if a week is a week not sufficient time to review this information and make a vote, how long would you guys need? I've already heard two members of your board say that they're not gonna make a decision next week.
Well, no. we
Or
should-
if they do, they'll,
Hold on.
He made
This is like ALS 2.0 where it carried on for 2.5 years.
So
Same scenario.
is Mike completely out of the picture then?
Same
If Mike,
tactics.
if Mike comes back and says they'd like to stay again, or stay, is this so open, or have you drawn?
It is not your position to even discuss that. You have no involvement in personnel.
and why
Why is
like,
that-
discussion on the money issue.
Asking a question I can vote on.
Let's take the money out of this, the
Forget
it.
Christmas
Forget it.
lights down
Forget
on
it.
High Street.
Forget it.
There's $100,000.
Are you adjourned, Paul? Did you call
Go
it?
ahead.
Go ahead. I mean,
Go
there's
ahead.
money there.
Leave the lights on High Street dark at Christmas time. Do it.
Hey, we're
I
talking
invite
about
you to
money.
do it.
We're talking about money.
Go
Let's
up
do
there
that.
and say, I, Matt Tobis, want those lights up.
Well,
Go
money's
right
tight.
ahead and do it.
Money's tight. Maybe
Do it.
we can
Right.
find a cheaper
All
vendor.
right, do
Maybe
it.
we could do that. We could find a
Do it.
cheaper vendor.
Do it.
Possibly.
Turn the lights up.
Did I ever get an
Go
answer
ahead.
for my question?
I don't know that I'm prepared to
Go
make a
ahead.
decision
Why
on
did
it
you get an answer
today.
to the question?
Maybe next week we can.
Do it.
Consider Mike if he changes.
Second.
You gotta move
Motion to adjourn.
We gotta go make dinner.
Bobby seconded.
Get it, Paul.
Hey, Julie,